I parked along the shadowed curb, engine cooling, heart beating like a steady drum. She walked as if rehearsed, scarf draped just right, a soft laugh, her hand linked with his. The man with the ring. The man arrogant enough to think he could remain my wife's hidden secret. I didn't follow them inside. I didn't need to. I already had everything. A photo from their last concealed night, a voice recording of his laugh, timestamps stitched neatly into a calendar of lies. Once, we had been careful. We learned each other's coffee orders, the angle she preferred her books stacked, the quiet ritual of opening windows every Sunday. I had loved those small architectures of us. That was why her betrayal sliced so deeply, because trust and patterns, when broken, shatter like glass. Her hand in another man's felt like shards in my chest, glass against concrete. It hadn't started with explosions but with subtle cracks, a receipt in her coat pocket, a lipstick mark that never washed out, a cloud-saved photo with her smile in a place no memory should exist. That was the fissure I could no longer ignore. I didn't rage. I cataloged. I recorded. I planned. Pain became an instrument, patience a weapon. I copied, archived, documented, names, dates, clinic visits. I built a ledger of truth. My methods were not emotional but mathematical. I opened separate accounts, shifting small sums in patterns that would matter later. I consulted a lawyer anonymously about property contingencies in cases of fraud. I bought a dashcam and learned how to edit timestamps. I shadowed routines, becoming a spectator to their choreography until complacency made them predictable. Exposure was the opening move. From my car, I dialed his wife. My words were precise, stripped of emotion. Right now, your husband and my wife are at the clinic, ending a pregnancy to cover their affair. If you hurry, you can catch them. No begging. No anger. Just facts, delivered like a courier. On the other end, I heard the sharp breath of disbelief, then sudden motion. I sent her the photo, the timestamps. Then I hung up and waited for consequences. They unraveled quickly. He exited first, face ashen, phone clutched tight. His wife arrived, frantic, then furious. Paper, keys, accusations flying as though she could force reality back into shape. For a moment, the lover's eyes met mine. Recognition flickered, followed by denial disguised as composure. That was enough. Exposure cracked their facade, but it wasn't enough to end them. So, I turned to leverage. I sent the clinic anonymous tips about billing irregularities tied to their appointments. Soon, audits began. Paper trails, once convenient, became hazardous. Appointments were flagged. Administrators asked questions. His safe accounts suffered delays and holds as financial managers demanded explanations about transfers. Not theft, just pressure. Enough to make their neat little eyes collapse. To my wife, I sent an envelope containing that cloud photo and one handwritten line. You chose a man who thinks he can hide. Choose again. No threats. No theatrics. She read it at the kitchen table while our dog watched, head tilted, confused. She didn't cry. She folded her hands and looked older than on the day I married her. That was the point, clarity, not spectacle. 2 weeks later, the public unraveling came over coffee. He sat across from his wife, pale, fumbling excuses. I sat 2 tables away, newspaper folded across my lap, watching their confessions collapse. She produced the messages. His face performed the arithmetic of betrayal and came up bankrupt. Then my wife arrived, breathless, and the air thickened. Strangers leaned in, hungry for theater. The room tasted like accusation. Fallout isn't cinematic. It is granular, relentless. The husband left first, hotel, then an apartment that smelled of transients. His wife filed for separation, moving with the precision of someone forging armor. The lover disappeared for a week, returned, and left me a hollow apology. My own house reshaped itself around absence. The echoes between rooms changed pitch. I hadn't done this for pleasure. I engineered pressure points, legal, financial, social, so truth could work slowly. When auditors combed the clinic, sloppy record-keeping couldn't be pinned solely on me. When friends picked sides, I wasn't surprised. Foundations shake, and alliances reveal themselves. I answered every question honestly, handing over receipts like a man returning overdue books. The hardest part was the silence. Nights became different. I woke on the hour, alarms wired beneath my ribs. Time stretched wide, belonging to no one. The dog returned after a month, curling at my feet, trusting me again with its small gravity of warmth. That, more than anything, felt cleansing. The final meeting came at the doorway, where we once argued about wallpaper. She stood there with her bag packed, face hardened into composure. I saw in her a faint curiosity, surprised that I had been patient enough to design revelation and leave the rest to gravity. There was no plea, no bargaining. Only the hollow silence of someone realizing they had been measured and found lacking. I had expected fury, maybe remorse. Instead, just the quiet folding of a life. I do not celebrate. There are no banners in my windows. Revenge is not a carnival. It is a remedy. It clears infestation, leaving the structure intact, though scarred. Each move cost me sleepless nights, friendships cut away. But I took responsibility for how truth landed. If there's a lesson, it is this. Do not mistake calm for weakness. The patient are the most dangerous when they have measured every variable and wait for alignment. I left the house with keys in my pocket, closed the door softly, and walked away, leaving them to live in the silence of what they had pretended to be.